Hi Sagittarius, my name is Audrey Alison. Thank you for joining me for your August 2016 forecast for the month. I am happy to be here. I wanted to thank you so much for subscribing to this channel and for your support on my Facebook page, Audrey Alison Astrology and Tarot. But I'm using the Alchemical deck by Robert M. Place. And this is eclipse season, so let's start the month of August. We have a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the fire signs as well as Virgo for you Sagittarius, but we'll start on the 2nd with Mars entering your sign, and that will be conjunct, Mars will be conjunct Saturn, who's at 9 degrees of Sagittarius in the first house. So energy, stamina, willpower, drive, determination, all that is Mars taking action. No longer a time of rest in that Mars retrograde for you. It's full speed ahead for Sagittarius. And with Saturn, you might see some restriction. As much as you want to go, Saturn is there to discern what is appropriate and what isn't, or what needs to happen and what doesn't. So although there might be some discomfort with this conjunction, allow the process, because it's actually weeding out things that no longer serve the first house of body and self. So on that same day, on the 2nd, we have our new moon at 10 degrees of Leo, and this is in the 9th house. So Mars and Saturn are trining Uranus and Aries in the 5th house, trining that new moon energy of Leo. So that's the fire activation there. There could be sudden inspiration, sudden with Uranus, inspiration to travel long distances with the 9th house involved. There could be shocking revelations about your personal belief system, the 9th house of political opinion. It could also be your certifications and maybe something with your children in the 5th house. It could be romance abroad, unexpected, spontaneous new connections in the 5th house of true love and romance. And I say abroad because the new moon happens in the 9th house of foreign, exotic locations. So for those of you Sagittarians who are traveling, you naturally govern the 9th house on the solar wheel. You'll have some luck with you in that department. You could start a fresh new connection with romance outside of your normal area. You could also have new courses that you need to take suddenly that you're not aware of, that need to get you higher learning or higher education happening there, or with your children as well in the 5th house where Uranus is stationed. On the 5th, Venus makes her transit into Virgo, where she'll be conjunct Jupiter through the 29th of August, and this is in the 10th house, trining Pluto in Capricorn in the 2nd house. So there could be career advancement here in a big way, because Pluto is intensity in the 2nd house of income, and Venus conjunct Jupiter, both benefic planets, in the 10th house of career, is beautiful for promotion, raise, even retirement for those of you at that age. There is expansion in the 10th house, a larger title, expansion or a name change, moving up, definitely with Jupiter involved in a big way. Very positive placement with Venus conjunct Jupiter in the career sector. It's also connecting your relationship to the father, the paternal figure, the 10th house of father. On the 13th, Saturn goes direct in your sign. So moving forward, Mars direct, Saturn direct in the 9th house. In the 1st house at 9 degrees. So you are, you might feel a little feisty, Sag. You might have a lot of opinions, I want to say, because Saturn could make you feel like a little bit of a know-it-all when he starts working direct, and Mars could make you a little anxious, a little feisty. So watch the road rage, watch your anger. On the 18th, we have our full moon lunar eclipse, so it is eclipse season at 25 degrees of Aquarius in the 3rd house of communication, the 3rd house of neighborhood, siblings, local travel, the vehicle. The full moon eclipse could see a mode of transportation eclipsed out of your life at that time. The car will not work, or just you're done with it. It could also see a relationship to a neighbor or a local area come to an end. Something is illuminated with the full moon. An awareness, a culmination, and an ending occurs with our full moon. So, and eclipses tend to eclipse things out of the picture on the full moons. So if we're wasting time doing something locally that we shouldn't be, or maybe we're disconnecting with a sibling at that time. On the 22nd, the sun enters Virgo in this 10th house, conjunct Jupiter, conjunct Venus. Huge for career, Sag. So for those of you needing promotion, looking for new work, you're reaching one of the highest points of the career right now with Jupiter in the 10th. And this kind of energy won't exist for about 12 more years. Jupiter won't make it back into the career sector for 12 more years. So the Sun conjunct Venus and Jupiter won't happen for you for 12 more years. On the 29th, Venus enters Libra, exiting Virgo in the 11th house. Connections with friendships, female friends coming into the mix for Sagittarius. Venus governing the feminine. Also your goals and a smoothing over and harmony of your goals and wishes throughout that transit could occur. And also bringing you to the right clubs, groups, and organizations with Venus entering the 11th house. Mercury's retrograding on the 30th of August. What isn't happening in August? Mercury retrogrades at 29 degrees of Virgo, back through 14 degrees of Virgo. In that same sector, the 10th house, so there's an analysis. He's trining Pluto, so the intensity is there as well. There's a review of the career. So you can get promoted, and then you have to really get analyzing and get your details in order. And retrograde's always great for reviewing, revising, rewriting. And for those of you looking for work, it's great to get the resume honed in on in a Mercury retrograde and then submit it. And when it's direct going forward, you'll have success in the analysis of that. And on September 1st, we have our new moon solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Virgo, trining Pluto in Capricorn, conjunct Jupiter. I mean, Virgo's energy, that 10th house of career, you could really expand and find yourself in the position that you're absolutely meant for. Your purpose could arrive, and that eclipse could eclipse it right in, because the new moon on September 1st is a fresh start. Let's get to your cards, Sag, and see what comes up. I'm using Robert M. Place's alchemical deck. So Sag, here are your cards for August 2016. King of Cups. This is a water sign, male, a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. It's also a card of self-fulfillment and finding answers within and trusting your own intuition at the highest level, because it's a king, if it's not relating to a specific person or individual right now in your life. Strength. This is the card that symbolizes Leo in the Tarot, but we have our new moon at 10 degrees of Leo in the 9th house of travel. But this is a card of vitality and energy. Mars in your sign, direct, will give you a lot of strength in the first house of body and self. That's great for workouts. It's great for actually getting muscle mass and physical tone. Hermit. This is the sign of Virgo in the Tarot. Interesting. So you go from Leo to Virgo, and that's exactly how they are aligned in the... Oh, I hope that was caught on film. A butterfly just flew right over the top of my head. That's such a great omen. Okay, so these two are in order in astrology, Leo then Virgo. And the sun transiting out of Leo at the top of the month into Virgo by the 22nd could see you feeling a little bit retreating. You know, Venus in that 11th house of social sectors is a little bit of a dichotomy to the Hermit. But I feel like you are discerning who is worthy of your time versus who isn't, with Saturn in the first house of self. So some of your friendships will make it, and some of them probably won't. eclipse people out too. So keep that in mind. 5 of Wands, 5 of Fire, the burning hand, creative energy, the 5th house, but it's also a little bit of a little competition around you. But with Uranus in your 5th house, you could have a shocking creative revelation. And Uranus is revelation and rebellion and very individual and unique. So he likes doing things on his own and maybe creating things on his own. The last card is the Knight of Cups. You have to trust the subconscious. Just to start with this and end with this. Always pay attention to the dream life. I say that often, but it's so true. It's so important to remember the messages that you receive, and if you can write down your dreams, even better. But trust your instincts above anybody else's. You will know what's best for you, even if you're feeling like you don't. You might need to, this is also very internal. You could go inward. You might need to just retreat a little bit in order to get your strength. And in order to know where you're headed on a creative endeavor, or perhaps with a desire, with the fire, and maybe you're knocking out some competition around you, especially in the career sector. If anybody's coming up against a Sagittarius for that promotion, they're not going to be the victor. I feel like Sag will be. The fire signs have a lot of strong energy with that trine in effect at the top of the month. So I hope this was helpful for you, Sag. And if you'd like to book with me, you know where to find me, audreyallison.com. I'm wishing you a beautiful August. And remember, the sky is limitless, so reach for the stars.